Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is upon the topic of business idea presentation, a particular format and the template for the same. And we'll be covering the tips and tricks to win those competitions as well and prepare for those competitions as well. So firstly, we need to have an agenda, a topic on which we are going to prepare a business idea presentation. So it should basically comprise of introductory section that will emphasize upon your product, your plan, the primary goals, the scope, objective, aim, etc. Areas of growth, the industrial fields, the marketing utilization, the profits and all. It can be covered in the areas of growth. So basically it is a economical and financial, socio-economical financial field. The next is the timeline. How much will be the product how much will it will take for the product to come into the market, or how much time it would take for it to be flourished or get more popular, and so on and so forth. And finally a small conclusion or a summary for the same to wind up along with the SWOT analysis, that is a strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. So the plan must be a memo, a summary memo. It should be a formal plan document. It should not be too vibrant. It should be subtle and decent. The presentation, the way in which you communicate, the language, the gesture, that is very important. Your body language is what that is firstly noticed. Your hand gestures, the way you speak, the speed, the tone, the volume, etc. The management of the business. So basically, how are you able to convince the person sitting in front of you, who's judging you? So business management and elevator speech. So there are so many. Actually, there is one particular show as well called as elevator pitch. So it's basically a point of convincing. How do you convince the opposite person? So there we will be discussing, of course, these different shows that you can watch for the business idea. But yes, before that, I'll just tell you that elevator speech is basically the way in which how much is the conviction, how much are you confident on your plan? Because if you are only underconfident, the opposite person is obviously not going to get much of interest in your project. So that is more important. The next is the tips. Use of pointer words. This is very, very important. You need to use pointer words. It should be apt. It should be bulleted. It should, as a big paragraph should not be mentioned. Then you must introduce yourself very subtle, in a very professionalism way. Grab their attention. So to grab their attention in the beginning. So always remember your conclusion and your introductory session. These are two major sessions of your presentation wherein the attention is must, because on this basis only the results could be declared. So basically you can begin by asking them a question. So if you leave them in a dilemma, and then at the end if you just make that dilemma clear for them, or in the beginning you ask them a question in order to engage the audience, to engage the judges with your presentation, so that they can correlate much. You can use a quote, of course. Beginning with a quote is very, very useful, because you begin with a positive impact. Any idiom, any quote, any phrase, that was very important. Like suppose if you are giving us a presentation on education, so you can give a small speech on education. Like suppose if you are selling any product, any online product also, like a blackboard, suppose, if but that blackboard is a smart board. So you can say that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam once said that black color is said to be detrimental, but it is a blackboard that will make a student's life a brighter one. So this is a very good quote. So if I begin with this quote before selling my product, obviously the person is going to get more attracted and more acquainted with the product as we go ahead with the presentation. Next, you can use a visual aid, of course. Any demonstrations, any handy props can actually help you to make your product look different from others. You can stand out if you have a good prop in your hand. Appeal to your audience's interest. Always focus on the requirements, on what is actually needed rather than what is actually to be made. So if you are focusing that audience ko kya chahiye, what they actually want, that will be much more better. Summarize always after the each slide. Get a habit of summarizing one to two, so that you, 1 to 2 points that are of vital importance, because they might leave an impact on the judges. Of course, as I mentioned before, end with a bang, something that's too memorable, something that is that cannot be forgetful. Or you can even end with a question as well, like whatever, any question that's related to your product. Remember, 90% of your audience will be focusing on the opening and conclusion. So if they are to be presented, it should be in a creative and a professional way. Next is a smooth transitions. So when you're preparing a presentation, the honeybee, these kind of transitions are to be avoided. A subtle transition is very, very vital and useful, because it actually gives you a smooth framework, actually a link. It will not break your presentation. Also, a transition from a speaker to speaker. Suppose if I have two speakers with me, my co-mates. So you can say this statement: I have covered the 4 major points of the marketing plan, and now I'd like to introduce my co-mate who will discuss the financial plan. So rather than telling that over to you, my co-mate, or now you can speak, something like that, avoid using these words. Rather use a formal statement like this, that is affirmative. I have covered the 4 major points of the marketing plan, and now I'd like to introduce my co-mate who will discuss about the plan. This will leave a professional impact upon the judges. And then use a motivational visual slides, as I previously mentioned, and leave up to your question answer session. So at the end, of course, there will be a Q&A session. So during the Q&A session, see to it that if it is a team, that one person's answers, and if it's not your genre, see to it that you tell the other person in a very formal way that I would like my co-mate to answer this question, something like that, rather than simply telling XYZ person, can you please answer this question? So that will look a little bit more awkward and unprofessional. Of course, the energetic attitude, your attitude and the way in which you're presenting, there should be a energy, there should be a positivity, there should be a confidence in your, there should be a lot of perseverance when you actually speak. They should know that your caliber is way beyond. You are thinking of the future, you have something in your hand, there's a particular plan with you. So enthusiasm is what, and passionate, a passion and enthusiasm is very, very desirable when you're giving a presentation. What all things should be included in your presentation? Your figures, graphs, statistics, surveys. Figures are very, very important. So any diagrammatic representation will actually help them to understand much more better. The graphical representations for actually showing the data, it can be either a bar chart, a pie chart, or a Gaussian curve, anything. But it should be a graph, pie graph or Gaussian, anything will do. Surveys, of course, if you have carried out a interviewed few questionnaires or so, you can mention the same. And the statistical data, like male these many percent, female these many percent, Asian these many percent, Africans these many percent. So that will make an impact again on your presentation. Utilization and application of your financial plan. How is your plan actually going to benefit? Even if your plan is great, but if it's not of industrial application, how is it going to make profit? How is it of useful? So it should have an industrial application, the utilization of the same. Like suppose if you have designed any new traveling mode of systems other than metros, aeroplanes, cars, bikes, wheelers, etc. So how is that possible? How is that more economical, or how is that more convenient and affordable for the over others? And how is that product, is it going to work actually, or is it not possible? Because if it's suppose a battery or something, if working on battery, it's possible, because we can create battery stations that or a fuel refuel stations at particular places. But if it's something that is flying in the air, or something drone, or something other like other system, So it will be a big challenge because aerodynamics needs to be studied for that. How is it more useful over others? As I mentioned before, you need to have a more competitive analysis. That is what we call RCA, that is the root cause analysis. You basically perform your research well. You first of all, before planning something, you need to research in the market that this product is existing, these many are the sellers, these many are their numbers, what are they lacking, what is that gap analysis, the GA, and what are the CCP, critical control points, in which you can excel over them. These all terms are need to be kept in mind while you're preparing a business plan. Then there should be a mission, vision, and a logo. Like I would give a very a small example of the CDSCO, which is the drug regulatory body of our country, India. So CDSCO, the mission is to promote and protect the public health in India. The vision is to safeguard and enhance the public health by focusing on quality, safety, and efficacy of drugs, cosmetics, diagnostics, medical devices. So a mission, a vision, and a logo will create an impact, because they will come to know that yes, you are thoroughly prepared, you have your things in place, and you're ready to just rock in the market. The plans and the strategies that you're planning, how are you going to sell it, what are the different platforms on which you can sell, like suppose if it's any food product, so is there any cloud kitchen, or are you collaborating with any restaurants like cloud Amazon and Swiggy, Zomato and all. So are these food delivery systems or something like that? So you need to have a plan, a strategy of how can you increase your product sale, how can you actually increase your number, your revenue generation. Trends and the competitors, of course. To be a trend setter, you need to first understand trend analysis and trend review. So you need to analyze what all exactly is being sold and why is it being sold, in which demographic is it sold, in which geographical place is it sold. Packaging and labeling, of course, anything that is very attractive to see is something that attracts anybody, something that captivates any audience. So if it's for kids, something packaging of any animes, cartoons, or anything that will be appealing to the eyes. Like firstly, lipstick used to come in these kind of roll-ons, but nowadays the lipstick is coming into this kind of packaging which is lips itself, like this. So these are what is packaging, and it can make a great impact, because even if you're like Kinder Joy, what are they selling? They are selling those two chocolate balls, but the packaging, the eggs, the way in which they are giving gifts and all, complimentary goodies and all, so that is what makes their product more peculiar. So that is what you need to focus upon. SWOT analysis, of course, you need to know the strengths, the weaknesses, or the small points in which the others can cope over you. The opportunities, like how can you make like suppose tie-ups with NGOs, tie-ups with Make in India concept, because nowadays Make in India is being boosted. There has been fundship, flagship programs, scholarships. There are so many amount of money that is being dispersed to the entrepreneurs, to the new business personnel. So that is more important. Contact details, of course, that needs to be mentioned. Email, faxes, because to have authenticity, to have trust, to have faith, you need to give your contact details that yeah, this is a genuine company. So yeah, there needs to be a contact details and the objective, of course. Why are you creating the product? What is the basic ideology of this plan? So this is a small template or a poster, you can say, that I had prepared this poster for my competition as well. So firstly, you need to give out a problem statement. What are the three problem statements, or any one problem statement, and that what are the existing alternatives and what is your solution? Then the key metrics. What are the key characteristics? The For elucidation of your product in the market, what are the most important parameters and what are the most important qualities of your product? The unique value. So there's a unique value is very important. Like for any plan, it needs to be Six Sigma. So you need to have a good quality of your product. So USP, what is the unique selling proposition? That is very, very important. Unique selling proposition. What are the unfair advantages, the channels or the platforms via which you're going to increase, the cost structure, the economy, a brief idea or tentative numbers could be actually useful. The revenue generations, what will be the revenue generations via online, offline platforms, via some other national, domestic, international platforms, etc. What are the customer segments? So these are few of the terms and terminologies that you could inculcate or incorporate in your presentation and poster. So yeah, here we go with some of the very interesting concepts. Entrepreneurship. To be an entrepreneur, you need to have a vision, proper research. You need to brainstorm upon that research, create a strategy, and then finally achieve the goal and the target you're aiming for. So that is what we call entrepreneurship, a combination, an amalgamation of all these strategies. So business startup plans needs to have a management team, a B2B model, business to business, business to consumer. There are different business models, business to consumer. And like suppose if it's a pharmaceutical company, so from one pharmaceutical company to another pharmaceutical company. B2C, from one pharmaceutical company to the retail pharmacies, to the customers. That is B2C. So there are different models in which you can actually make your product go ahead. Market analysis, of course, market and trend analysis is very, very vital. The operational plan, the financial plan, and the marketing plan. These are some of the important parameters that are very, very useful. The next is the business idea summary. So in the business idea summary, it should be around 2 paragraphs. It should show the uniqueness of your idea, the feasibility and the solidity. How rigid and robust is your product and your plan, and how is it going to revolutionize or transform the existing methodology or the existing system. Relevance of your business idea, capability of the management, and the appeal towards the other investors. The next is the product, services, and summaries. So these are basically product summaries, and summaries include the definition of your product, the description of your product, the impact of your product, and the marketing need of your product. The next is the CA analysis, that is a competitors analysis summary. What are the different evaluators and competitors? What are the maturity levels, the years of existence? Are there any branches or franchise? Are there any other price reviews, quality reviews, or neglecting the demographic or niche? A niche, finding out a niche is very, very important. Malperformance or an untapped market, if there are any untapped fields in the market. So that is what we can achieve via this particular plan. The next is the target market. So what exactly, which age group are you targeting? Pediatrics, adults, geriatrics? Like if you are creating some toys, obviously you will go for pediatrics or the patient who have a little psychological imbalance. If you are planning anything that is like a pen, if it's a pen, of course pen could be used by any generation. It's not necessary that mostly the adults, the teenagers, the adolescents use it. The adults also require those pens, but yes, more targeted would be of course the students. So that is what is a targeting strategy. The sex, the male or the female, well, like if it's a clothing, so what is it, a unisex clothing or is it a male clothing? Is it the shoes that are male, female? Income level, of course, what are the different income level groups? There are different groups that one is the rich or a cream crowd, one is the middle class group, and one is the BPL, below poverty line group, and one is the poverty line group. So these, which audience are you targeting? So you will inculcate your plan in that particular audience only. So that is what is income level. The educational level, of course, does it require literacy to use, or is it could be used by anybody? Any ethnicity, any race? Is it for Asians? Is it for Africans? Is it for Europeans, etc.? The city, any particular town residents? Is it for any particular city, any particular demography? Is it for any session? Like suppose if you're planning for umbrella, umbrella could be used in summers as well, it could be used in monsoon as well, but it could not be used in winters. So that is what is important business plan for. And the next is the marketing plan summary. You elaborate on your marketing plan and then you suggest the execution for the same. So PRA, promotion, relevance, and the annual strategy. Promotion, relevance, and the annual strategy. PRA, these are the three important parameters that are very, very useful. And the final is the startup cost and financial numbers that are required. So yeah, this is a small template I would like to show you of a presentation. So here is the title of the presentation, the name and the affiliation, a small introduction, the method and methodology, a small abstract, the contact details, the results and the statistical data. Here you can see there's a graphical data and statistical data included, the discussion of the same, and a small conclusion and the references if you have adopted. Do not forget to mention about the references because they make a very like they leave an impact that they will come to know that you have performed some literature survey, you have worked hard. And the final is some of the list of shows and movies that you can actually see so that you get a more you get a good idea. So one of them is Shark Tank, of course, a very, very popular. So you can come to know about the revenues. What are the different fields in which you can work? You can get an idea of how do you present, how do you actually make or get ready for a presentation? What are the different shares and equities? How do you bargain? Of course, that is one of the skill. Elevator pitch, startups. This is again a show. Ballers, billions, boiler room, corporations, dropouts, empire, planet of the apps, BDC, billion-dollar code. These are all important shows and movies that you can actually see for an inspiration and motivation. And trust me, I have seen these movies. They are a real show, are real importance, and they do give you important. So these are this section especially for pharmacists, as I am a pharmacist myself. So I would suggest that this is a very good movie or a small drama documentary, you can say. Vials, Victorian Pharmacy, The Pharmacist, Parallel World of Pharmacy. These are all you can say Annie style, but yes, they might leave a small brainstorming idea into your mind. The Adventure of the Pharmacist. This is a very good one. You need to see this. Huh? That is very, I highly recommend it. And these are the other shows: The Profit, The Shark Tank, The Kitchen Nightmares, Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den is again I would strongly recommend. Silicon Valley, Suits, highly recommended. HR, very, very, it leaves a great impact on you. The Office, this is a quite monotonous thing for those people who are office personnel, and it's like a story of them. Besides them, there are certain these are side effects, temptations, apothecin, knock, balloon, painting lesson, blood pressure. These are the few movies or shows which you can watch, like if you want an idea or something like that. So that's all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to contact me or connect with me via the comment section. Thank you so much for watching the video.